What's up, everybody? This is Yogi Chris, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga and captain of IMC Nation. I live here at Base One Temple in San Jose, California, technically Campbell, California, with Arash, Fernando, and Sultan. And this is the headquarters of IMC Nation. This next episode, I'm very excited to be able to give to you. It documented a wonderful experience that I had being initiated in Transcendental meditation over 18 months ago. And it being that it's closer to what happened, the account is more accurate, more emotions in it. And some very powerful things happen in the initiation. You know, the guy that initiated us, you'll hear all about it in the episode, but he's a senior guy in Transcendental meditation community. He personally lived with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi for 4 years, who's the founder of TM. And, you know, he had some very powerful things to say to me when he was initiating me. I had some great visualizations or visions, let's say, that came up in my consciousness while I was being initiated. And I go into that, and, you know, a lot of spiritual teachings of what I know from spirituality are in this episode. This is the Transcendental meditation experience that I had. So I hope you enjoy it. It's not the best ranking episode from Science of Peace, but what it is like my favorite. This is like because what an experience this is going to be able to transmit to you. And I hope you appreciate it here on Enlightened Masculinity. Hey, it's Science of Peace. I'm Yogi Chris, PhD. Don't forget it. Does the PhD matter? I don't know. I think it matters for something. I spent 12 and a half years, higher education, did that whole thing. Unfortunately, later I realized that I had been betrayed by my education. So it didn't really teach me much. I don't remember much. After math and reading and writing, not much has really been useful. It's been mostly a delay, and a lot of cool experiences, though, and it was all mostly for sports and athletics, which led me to yoga. Now, yoga, it's interesting. Today, I was going to talk about meditation and communication. Why? Because I went to Transcendental meditation initiation. I got the initiation. You know, there's certain vows that you take, so you don't talk about certain aspects of it, so I'm not talking about those aspects. I already basically knew what it was, and you can easily find out what it is. You know, it's a certain mindful meditation that also has a mantra, and it helps really tune you out of your mind. The mantra has zero meaning to it, so you don't know what it means. It's just some sounds. So it helps because you don't have any you're not fixating on the meaning of what you're saying at all. It's literally just a sound that helps you focus, but not on anything in particular, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool technique. But I went to a follow-up today. The guy is teaching us. Man, I could have, a pamphlet. I could have read it in 3 minutes and got all the information that it took him 90 minutes to convey, which was painfully slow. So, but he had 53 years or something of meditation. I'm sure he didn't say anything inaccurate to my experience. Like, he seemed like he knows what the fuck he's doing as far as how to meditate. But, you know, where was his communication skills? It was so inefficient to get the message across. And, you know, why I was talking about yoga is because people will ask, like, do you do yoga or do you meditate? As if they're two separate things. Seated meditation practitioners love to talk about how physical yogis, they're too into the physical, and, you know, that's not meditation. You know, they need meditation. They're just worshiping the body, they'll say. And then the people that do physical yoga, they talk about seated. Some people will look up to meditation practitioners as like a thing of attainment. Like, once I get my body flexible enough, I'll meditate. You know, yeah, I mean, or they'll look at meditation practitioners and say they're abandoning their body, which is an actual fact. They're both actually kind of right. They abandon their body, like the guy today was talking about not breathing enough during meditation. He wasn't saying it in those terms of not breathing enough. He was just saying you breathe so little and you'll take a deep sigh sometimes, blah, blah, blah. Well, everybody in the silent flute knows that you acidify if you don't breathe enough. So meditation practitioners, they meditate a lot. They don't exercise, they get cancer still because that's an acidic body. So you're doing your law of attraction manifestation rituals, but you're never oxygenating your system. A few deep breaths isn't enough to do it. Exercise, or like a deep yoga practice that just like fills your lungs for an hour, and or an alkaline diet. like a salad or something, alkaline versus more acidic. Most foods are acidic, but it's all relative to how it affects your pH. So some foods like meats and whatever are acidifying. But if you do 2 hours of cardio a day, you can eat hella meat and processed foods. From the acidic standpoint, you still will have, a part of processed foods has molecules that maybe aren't digested. So they get built into your system, but they're not really organic. So it kind of fucks with your structure, or whatever. So communication, meditation and communication. So you can have such deep insight of your mind. He's talking about the resistances to different ideas, how in meditation, you let go of it. I mean, just the way he's talking in his technique. Not what I'm saying now is not general for all meditation, although I think it's pretty general for just like life. Like when you have a resistance to an idea, like, what are you going to do there? Are you going to change something? Is it within your control, or is it not? Does it not matter? You're making a mountain out of nothing, really, not even a molehill. So that's the distinction. Arash was talking today about wisdom, basically distilling down to, is it in my control or not? Or does it matter? It's either in your control or it's not, or it doesn't matter. It's one of those three. It's the classic AA saying, or which comes from Yoga Sutras, actually, of God grant me the wisdom to see the difference between what's in my control, what's not, and the wisdom to know the difference. That third part, the wisdom to know the difference, is like saying the wisdom to know if it matters or not. Because if it's in your control or not, when you're examining the issue or the problem, in that examination, you'll notice it doesn't really matter. That's not the issue. I'm looking at that, but that's just a smokescreen for the deeper issue. But only on inquiry and examination, you can break through these perspectives or frames that we have on situations. So many frames are just false frames. I'm not saying that I have real frames. I at least have a big enough frame to know that most frames are false frames. So I think that's a pretty big frame, and life is the test. Like I am also living life. So as I go through challenges or disagreements or whatever, like my frames are challenged because there's ultimately something I want. I want the girl to cooperate. I want the guy to cooperate. Like that's what I want. It's a game of cooperation. And I want to make the right decision. I want to get the right information. So I want to get what I want. And if I don't, you could call it suffering. It's a strong word. I think it's suffering to not get what you want, but I can see why it's taken the wrong way because it's such a strong word. So it's like, you obviously want the thing. So if you don't get it, if it didn't affect you, that would be weird. If it doesn't affect you, did you really want it? Or why even admit that you wanted it? Was it a lie that you wanted? Did the feeling pass? Like, that's like people that come to me and ask for yoga advice or whatever. They don't really want it because upon one or two questions, they just go the other way. Good. I'm glad I asked one or two questions before I offered any advice or any value. And a lot of people are doing that. Just a reminder for the link. Oh, Sultan has a link. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording and send him this link quickly. And we're back. Okay, so, we're looking to it's not that you're looking to break frames, but frames, they shift, what you see. They shift your experience of life. If you look out the window and you don't see, you brought up meat and acidity. Yeah, Layla's saying, was that the last thing with breathing?
Yeah, breathing and acidity and being able to cleanse it out with in your meditation.
Oh, yes.
With the yoga at the same time.
Yes, because the physical practitioners, they'll kind of dog on seated practitioners. Seated practitioners, they'll kind of dog on physical practitioners. And everybody within, meditation people, that's the wrong lineage. This is the right technique. The yoga practitioners, that's the wrong yoga. This is the right yoga. And, the most confident yogis, what they say, go and try that. Go and try that one. Go and try that yoga. And it takes a strong person, or they're inexperienced, which also makes them a good person, because they would say, go try that. I am experienced, and I would say, go try that. But you might find this or that. But go try it. It's good. Here are the limitations, this and that. So it's not a dogmatic thing. I think you should try it, because I know it's the same thing with the girl. I think you should go and talk to other guys until you know for sure something. There's something you're not getting. I know it. You don't know it yet. It's not something I can convince you of. It's something you just got to know. And if you don't know it, here, let's change the colors. Oh man, it's way too blue. Oh, we'll go white. All right. And if you don't know it, then, that's where awareness needs to come up. That's how I feel about it. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just how I approach it, because there's just really no other way to approach relationships than certainty. And that's kind of a tangent. So the meditation is definitely found in the yoga experience. And posture is definitely a component of seated meditation. And if it's not, then you really become kind of a contorted, troll-looking, kind of acidified individual that's so soft-spoken that he's so good at releasing the tension of inner thoughts, of deep subconscious thoughts, that he sits and he's become a master of how can I settle the energy, just keep settling the energy. Literally, as he's talking and he's using his hand to talk, I'm falling asleep. Like I'm getting hypnotized, as he says, and as the mind settles, I'm going and I noticed after 3 or 4 times, my eyes are following his hand and he's like hypnotizing me. And it's like, listen, imagine, bondage in sex, bondage. There are some guys that like to be bound. They're called submissive guys. And some of them in their personality, they're not that submissive. They're like every other guy. They're normal, but they have a sexual bent or stint. They're angled that way. The person like that, the guy like that, is typically very surrender. That's a bondage feeling. It's out of my control. I'm resisting, I just give in. I'm resisting, I give. And that's how it helps the person to orgasm, because it's a surrender of, I can't control this. They're trying to get out. I'll just give. That is very similar to meditation, actually. That's very similar to what that guy is talking about. You got a question?
If he doesn't fall asleep.
When he meditates?
Yeah.
He does. I mean, it's a common thing. It's not a problem to fall asleep meditating, If it happens all the time, then you're probably not doing the right meditation for you. But
not for me, just if he does, settling so much.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of the TM, is awaking. It's like it's almost like sleep cycle brain waves. They measure these things, but with alertness, so that it's a technique. It's not different than really all the mantras I've given in the silent flute. Those mantras will do the same thing. It's just they have a meaning. So you get fixed on the meaning. So if the mantra, I have plenty of money, you start focusing on money, having plenty of it, like you start getting images. You have all these meanings. If you had some arbitrary sound like glop or something, glop, 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 it would have a similar effect, but sound is, I'm not going to say it's sacred. What I'm going to say is a circle for a reason. It's defined as a thing, and it has a particular function in the universe. A triangle is defined as equilateral or, whatever, right angle, triangle, like square, rectangle, like these shapes are defined and they're symbols. A square is a symbol of something in energy terms. A circle is a symbol. A sound is also a representation of something. And even if we don't have a meaning, like a human meaning for a sound, there is, you could call it like a cosmic or universal meaning. It does affect the system in a way. So if you just make something up, it affects the system. When you come from a lineage, they made a lot of mistakes for you. The problem is, of course, that because of the prestige, they can manipulate you. They can, it's easy to convince you to do things because of so much prestige. So that's the fear and the corruption of, coming from the lineage like that. But it's also, a lot of the mistakes have been weeded out, those lineages died off eventually. So I'm talking about meditation and communication and yoga. I came up with ninth limb yoga because I saw that people that practice yoga became worse at communicating, as measured by their relationships with friendly, business, student, teacher. And it didn't seem like that should be so. And maybe that seemed like that to me because I was doing yoga because of social awkwardness and I wasn't comfortable in social situations. I didn't know that at the time, but that was really my reason. I was lonely with women. So and I didn't know how to talk to women, but I was physically capable. So I knew enough to go put myself around women. Didn't really result in that many successes, but it got me comfortable, got me confident in public. And that skill or that attitude later became valuable. To be doing acro yoga around people is very attractive. You get a lot of girls coming over to you, and they are idiots, of course, because they're just like going to jump on some strange guy's feet and hands and, basically feel her up and throw her around and totally submit to, and then go back to her boyfriend that's over there that's not able to do that stuff. Like, they're idiots. Like, I don't mind because she's pretty or whatever, but I know that she's that much closer to me that if her and I ever meet out, it's going to be an exhilarating hi. She's going to love the time we acroed. And in that environment, now I can seduce her. I can't seduce her on the acro field because then I'm that guy that goes to acro to pick up chicks, and everybody feels violated except me. And it's hard to bring a girl to that too, because it's very difficult for her to stay loyal to you if 3 other girls right there think low of you. And, but when you're out, you meet her and she has a good feeling around you, then it's easy to lead. And then once you get one drink in her, then she's very suggestible. And then you just start persuading her mind, and you're okay with it yourself because you're a good person. You had a drink too. She had her chance. Where's her guy? Where's her guy? See, if she was my girl, she wouldn't put herself in danger like that. She's with a dangerous guy because that guy's not protecting her. But it's because he's not attracting her enough to control her, because she's not going to submit to his control unless she's hella attracted and wants to be with him. So it's both genders are failing. And Rodney Figueroa, what's up? Chess Labs, what's up? What's up? Chess champion, Puerto Rican, 4-time chess champion. And communication and meditation, we want to get to the point when we're talking. He was beating around the bush. It took him 90 minutes to say what would have taken me 10 minutes. And if I had been doing that for 53 years or 50 years, like he said he'd been teaching, I would have distilled it down a little better. Maybe he was just so calm. He was just so submissive. His personality was just so he seemed like a good person, even though he was brainwashed on COVID. So he's such a meditation expert. He's still brainwashed on COVID. I mean, but the technique, like, I can learn great yoga techniques from people that in life I wouldn't want to be like them. But in yoga practice, I like what I see or I like what I experience. This guy, when I saw him do his ritual, and which was a little like prayer to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, which is the creator of Transcendental meditation brand, and his guru. And these are great guys, and it's known that they're great guys. It was a very good ritual. I was swept up in the energy of it and his chanting, and I was there. I felt like I was in Northern India. I swear to God, the imagery came around me. I was enveloped in it, and I felt the presence of the guru when I was meditating. So it was great. I mean, the guys tapped in those ways, but communication is sluggish and it's so indirect. It's not really what he means. And he couldn't read our acknowledgments that, hey, we already know this, move on. Or our boredom, our signs that just lack of awareness of the other person, right? So in meditation, like in yoga, check and make sure that it doesn't make you so introverted, unable to express your inner experience, right? That's what we go to the silent flute for. Silent flute, I'll teach you how to communicate your inner experience, get it into words that other people get, so that you balance the energies in you. Yoga becomes more available, the state of union, or even the state of separation of the mind from soul, so that you can settle. Because the unsettled feeling is the confusion of your soul with the mind. You're thinking that what your mind is doing is you, and it's not. You're confused. That's the suffering. It's the confusion of what's impermanent as permanent. Your soul is permanent. The contents of your mind are impermanent because they don't go with you. But you're confusing the two. So you need separation and you need communication techniques. This is Silent Flute. Rodriguez, come over to Silent Flute. InstaFit, Ronnie Figueres, Chest Labs, Lady Gaga, or whatever your name is, Layla. You should be on Silent Flute. There's girls on Silent Flute. They hella love Silent Flute. Hella love. Brian Peralta, you should be on Silent Flute. There, it's settled. 5 of you are signing up tonight. Settled, right? It's only $77. You get 200 lecture archive, all the notes, and once a week, coming soon, twice a week lectures. Private stuff with techniques. All right? Fran, what's up from Australia? So if you're catching the recording, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, blah, blah, blah. Go to ninthlim.com. That's with the number 9. Check out all my stuff. Sign up for everything. And I'm Yogi Chris. I'll see you next, what day is today? Sunday. So I'll see you next Sunday on Science of Peace. Namaste. And do I end meeting or end recording?